New questions about how much of a role gender is going to play in 2016. This after House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi suggests that Americans should vote for Hillary Clinton because of what it would mean for women. Take a listen.
What's important is what it would mean to elect a woman president of the United States. It's a very major consideration. A very qualified woman to be president of the United States, not just that she's a woman.
A little backpedaling there at the end. Tucker Carlson, editor of the Daily Caller and co-anchor of Fox and Friends Weekend. Just when you thought we might be moving beyond gender politics, I guess we're not. Right, Tucker?
Well, good for Leader Pelosi. I guess she's gotten to that stage in life where she's just decided to be totally blunt and honest, and the rest of us are the beneficiaries of it. She's not pretending. This is the rationale for the Hillary Clinton campaign. You don't have to peel the onion very far back to get to gender. There's no other real rationale for it. And it perfectly matches the identity politics of the moment. And by the way, it's a very handy campaign tool. If you're running as the first woman, then you can use your gender as a weapon. Your critics are not just criticizing you, they're criticizing all women, and you're therefore a sexist, much in the same way the Obama staff has accused his critics of being racist ever since the 2008 campaign. So we've seen this before, it's just a different species.
So her slogan could be, vote for me, I'm a woman. But you know, according to polling data, most people aren't buying into that. It's not about gender politics. For example, let's put this up on the screen, a Fox News poll. 80% of voters, including 81% of men and 80% of women, think it would be wrong to assume that most women will automatically vote for Clinton because she's a woman. A year ago, pretty much the same results in a Pew poll. There it is. If the candidate was a woman, more or less likely. And, you know, 19% more likely, 9% less likely, but 71% say it doesn't matter a whit.
Yeah. Well, there are a couple things going on. One is, you know, there is a gap between what people say in polls and what they do. All pollsters acknowledge it. But the truth is, you know, if she picks up an extra 9 points, 6 points, she gets to be president pretty easily. You don't need to move that many people into your column on the basis of your gender to win the presidential election. But I would also say this, again, comports with where we are philosophically as a country. All of a sudden, we all kind of acknowledge, I guess, that who you are, how you were born, your immutable characteristics, whether they're, you know, race or gender or sexual preference, are more important than the things that you say and do. I mean, I think that's ludicrous, but it seems to be the operating assumption in our schools, in our public discourse. You know, we need a Hispanic, we need a woman, we need a whatever we need. And once you start thinking like that, then it's not a huge leap to say, well, why don't we have a woman president? Here, she's running, she's the one.
Too
if
much
that
veneer.
Moves a small number of people.
Too much veneer. I talked to the head of a women's group yesterday. I said, look, it's not about gender. It's about issues. And women care about all issues. But let me switch to another subject. Rand Paul, this has been very interesting, was being pressed by a reporter about his pro-life stance and exemptions to abortion. He very uniquely turned it on its head. And take a listen to this. Here's Rand Paul.
Shouldn't the other side have to decide when do rights begin? Are they really okay? And is the whole country okay with saying your rights begin after birth and the baby has no rights when it's 7-8 pound baby?
He ended up boxing in Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the DNC chair, into a corner over this. Pretty clever.
Very clever. I've never seen a Republican candidate do this. It's kind of amazing it fell to the libertarian to make this case. Good for him, because he actually is standing on solid ground here. Debbie Wasserman Schultz's views and the views of the Democratic Party institutionally are by definition extreme, which is to say, on abortion, they're far from the mainstream view. They acknowledge no restriction at all, and that would include for sex selection or for any reason at all up until the moment of birth. She cornered, she said, well, it should be between a doctor and her patient. Government has no role in protecting that life. The average person doesn't feel that way. They may describe themselves as pro-choice or whatever, but when it comes down to it, third-term abortion, elective abortion, no way. Nobody's for that, except for Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the Democratic Party. So good for Rand Paul.
Yeah. Hey, Tucker Carlson, great to see you. I'll be watching you tomorrow morning on
Greg.
Fox and Friends.
Thank you.
Take care.